And we're back. Episode 3, Journey of an Entrepreneur. Today we're going over business pricing strategy, how to formulate your business pricing strategy for success. I got here Carlin Humphrey, co-founder,
Whoop,
co-host
whoop.
in the building. Okay,
Appreciate
so
it.
so we're gonna dive right into it. But first, I wanted to tell a little bit of story to get you thinking about pricing. So I like to eat salads. Carlin, you like to eat salads?
Caesar salad, but that's about it.
Okay, so I go to these two salad places, Salada and Salad to Go. They're very different in pricing. One is very high end, tailored, customized pricing. Salads are like 30 to $40, right? And salad to go is very different in pricing and customization. It's the pricing you can get two salads and a salad wrap for salad to go, and that will only get you one salad at Salada. The pricing is like that. So that got me thinking, what is the difference? Why is one place way higher than the other? And I got to thinking, and I'm thinking to myself, there's three main reasons that it could be. One is the mission, two is the value they provide, and three is their cost. And so we're going to dive into each of these three aspects, right? Okay, so Carlin, what does mission have an impact on price and vice versa?
Yeah, and this is a really great topic. I think mission, it has a huge impact because when you think about it, right, like what you're providing, it depends on, what you think its value is, and what type of, pricing margins, how much do you want to get relative to versus, the value that you're offering your customers. So for instance, right, like you can have a product and you want to market it and, have it seem like a high value, a high high top of the chain type product. So you're going to set your price a little bit higher to give off that particular perception. Whereas if you're, selling a product that you want to give off as affordable for everyone, then obviously you're not going to set a high price. You're going to try to set a very competitive price comparable to other competition, right? So just depending on what your mission is, are you trying to give how should I say, do you want to give off the perception to your audience or your customers that we want to be high end, top of the line, best product out there? Then yes, your prices aren't going to reflect on the lower side compared to your competitors. It's going to reflect on your higher. And then if you want to give, I don't know, affordable, we're the best, price that money can buy, then yeah, you're going to go on the lower end. So yeah, definitely your mission affects how you perceive your prices.
Yeah, so the way I think about it is, the mission is who you are, and it kind of ties into your uh, values that you kind of want to display out into the marketplace. So if you're the type of organization that you're not really money driven on profits, and you really want to give back to the community and give value to people at a lower price, just like how Walmart does. Walmart does a great job of giving lower prices to people at scale, and it helps people out. I'm sure somewhere in their mission they want to help others and things like that. So yeah, you got to take that into account. So
Yeah, yeah, and you have to factor into your price margins.
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
So the next one, number two, we're going into value. Now, value is very important. And I'll let Carlin start off with it and dive into value, but value is key to getting people to want to buy and key to pricing your strategy.
Yeah, and value, it's like a conceptually, right? What is value? And again, it's all how people perceive what your product is worth, right? I can think that something is valued at $1,000, or my product is valued at $1,000, and somebody else might say, well, I think it's only $10, right? And so, the value is important. How do you reflect what you perceive your value, and how can you get your audience or your customers to have that same perception of your product, right? And a lot of that goes into marketing, which is why you see so many companies spend so much money on on marketing and promotions and brands. So I think a great example, and actually I was speaking to Taekwon about this, is I think about Versace, right? And how really, if you think about it, it's they sell shirts, right? So, clothing, and you can go to Walmart and get a pair of pants or a shirt for less than $10, right? And yet Versace's charging thousands of dollars for that particular clothing, and so you got to think, well, why is that? I mean, is it really the cotton is that much better to where you're willing to pay thousands of dollars extra? No, it's about the perception of the Versace brand. Owning Versace gives you a certain status, that you can show off to your friends and show off to your family, to make them perceive you as more valuable in a sense, almost, as I guess, as weird as that sounds, but yeah, you really, your value is just dependent on what you perceive a certain product, and products can improve their value not necessarily by creating better features or creating. I mean, obviously that helps, but it's very hard to do, right? But a great way to improve your value is by improving your marketing, and how you can promote your product, and that's just a great way to boost without having to totally reinvent the wheel, and keep coming up with new inventions with your product. So
And so we're talking about value, but what is value? What's the definition of value? So I define value as the tangible or intangible substance that makes people want to buy your product or service and either results in compensation, healing, or um, status or things like that. So when you provide value, people would exchange the money they have in their pocket for what you have. And so you have to relay that value, as Carlin was saying. Many of the times people want to, in business, the goal is to 10x what your the value, what your price is. So if your price is 10, or yeah, if your price is 10, then you want your value to be 10x that, right? So you have to convey your product in a way that shows that 10x value, right? Because if I have a dollar and Carlin has a dollar and we keep exchanging it, I give him a dollar, he gives me a dollar. What's the point, right?
yep.
People buy because the dollar I gave is like I give him $1. If I give you $1, Carlin, and I get and you get $10 in return, like we
I
exchange,
was,
would you
mhm.
take it?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so that's the value
Yeah,
you have to provide. So
yep.
that's currently what we're trying to work through with our business. How do we relay that value, the 10x value?
Yep. And to that point, right? In that exchange, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be money for money. It could be money for if you're helping someone with a particular issue that they have within their lives, right? And that issue is worth that dollar that you're receiving. you have to make sure that you convey that to your customers so that they say, okay, what I'm dealing with, the amount that they are charging for this is a great value for me. I feel like the issue is value wise is worth more than the money that I spent to fix it. So
Yeah. And and also with value, like for example, if someone needs a heart transplant, right? And you're looking to find the best doctors, the best cardiologists, specialists to treat you. Are you gonna go with someone that is like, say it was a cash pay, so you had to pay out of pocket, and they say, okay, I'll treat you for $50. Would you think that person would be able to treat you right?
You know what? That is such a good point, Ty. And but but also one thing to think about is based on the person, right, and their particular status. If you only have $50 and you need it, or you're gonna
Oh yeah.
die, then you have to take the risk, right?
Yeah, there's
Or
always,
mm,
there's always people that would rather pay lower on the scale than higher.
mhm.
It just depends on your customer, and that's
Yep,
what we kind of talked about in the last episode, in beta testing, your target audience, right? Because if you know your target audience, you know that they may be willing to pay more or they may be willing to pay less, it depending on how many competitors you have, your product, and things like that. So,
right. And and you're right. And to that point too is most of the time, 99.9% of the time, someone that is looking for that, and and that important of a surgery, yes, the how should I say, the target market for people willing to pay, or that only want to pay $50 or less, for a life-changing surgery, obviously is probably zero. So it just depends on, like, what are you offering? What is the service that you're offering? And where is the target market generally? What are they expecting you to charge them for? It's just something to consider.
yeah. All right, so we're going to move into the third part, which is cost. Now, back to my
Mm,
example with salad to go and salada, they're very different in pricing, but they probably have different pricing or different costs associated with the two because Salada is very customized. They have different lettuce, different croutons, different meats. Like they have different flavors of chicken, and Salada just has regular chicken, regular lettuce. So those costs, the differences in cost and what their product consist of, you know, factors into it.
yes, definitely. And to that, I think one of the biggest things with cost is supply chain, right? What how are their operational processes like? One may be way less efficient. They may be selling the same exact croutons or the same exact chicken, but if your supply chain is not as efficient as your competitor, then your prices are just going to inherently be higher, and you're going to have a way tougher time and ultimately competing with them. So that's just another thing to consider. Between salad to go and ensalada, maybe it's just their supply chain. One could be far better than the other. I know, and to add to your salad metaphor, not metaphors, your salad examples, I like to shop at HEB, and I love their HEB Caesar salad, right? And that Caesar salad is $3. And but it comes with croutons, it comes with, Parmesan cheese, everything, and it is, I really like it. It tastes fresh. And HEB, if you don't know, it's a grocery store chain in Texas, one of the largest in Texas, and they have an amazing supply chain that they basically own the entire region. They have connections with distributors, and they don't, unlike, Walmart or Amazon, they're only in Texas. That's where they sell. So they don't have to spend gas money from their trucks having to, travel all the way to Washington or New York trying to deliver their, goods and services. It's all in Texas. They keep it very central, and that helps with their supply chain, helps with their costs, and they ultimately provide a far cheaper price for their salad compared to those other options in enchilada and salad to go. So
Yeah.
just another, another perspective on it.
Yeah, and then you also with cost, you have to think of the fixed and variable costs. And so when you have a product either service based or a service or a product, you have to think of what are my fixed costs? Those are costs that don't change. And then your variable are ones that fluctuate with the inflow of sales and things like that. So you have to take that into account because with even with our business, we have variable costs with our app and different things like that when we get more people on and things like that. So we have to price a certain way so that we're not losing money in the long term, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that is a great point because it is very easy if you have a business and you're not paying attention to your fixed and variable costs to keep running up expenses, and you think you're, gaining revenue to sort of combat those expenses. But if you're not aware of, okay, well, as I go up in customers, I also go up in expenses, because I'm on a, well, for whatever reason, if you're a commission based, business, then that could definitely play a factor in your prices increasing. But ultimately, yeah, you can fall in the red very quickly. So yeah, it's always good to keep a track on what your fixed expenses are and what your variable expenses are. I know we have plenty of spreadsheets, with our business that track that. So yeah, it's definitely something to always stay cognizant of.
Yeah. So with the cost situation, now with our business, we think of cost and we think of our mission and we think of value. Now we tie all these things in together to formulate our price. And so right now we're at the moment where we just changed our prices what was it, a couple of months ago or maybe a
Yeah.
month or two ago. And
hmm
so you should always look to adjust and see is this the right price? As time goes on, inflation happens, you may even add value to your product and service, so you may want to raise or increase prices. So you just have to see what is right. And you could raise prices. And of course, when you raise prices, people will fall off. But if you do it right a certain way, the price you raise and the people that stay on, they'll cover the amount in dollar amount the people that fell off. So you gotta take that into account.
Yeah. Pricing is one of the most important and difficult things to decide on when starting a business. I know we've gone back and forth with our product and what we want, what we think the price should be set at, because I mean it really is, you're setting the value for what your product is worth to the customer, right? And that is no small thing. You set the price too high, then obviously way less people are going to buy it. Not only that, even if somebody does like your product, or people do like your product, if your price is too high and you have a competitor that sees, oh wow, they're doing really well with higher prices, we could sell the same product or a similar product at a much lower price. They can come in right under you, it price cuts you, and now the customers that you did have are going to them. And so now you're trying to fight a war, trying to lower your prices, but then it seems like you're lowering your value, and you kind of lose a little bit of credibility with your customer base, because they'll see, oh wow, well, they these other people are selling the same product at a lower price. Now you've lowered your price. So there's a lot of things to consider, from having higher end prices, but then at the same time, you think about lower prices, right? Well, if you sell your product at a very low cost, then on top of your value, it seems a lot less than what other people are necessarily paying. You don't leave yourself very much wiggle room in terms of your profit margin. So if you do have variable costs that increase over time, or fixed cost that pops up that's very large, you don't have any space to sort of handle those expenses, and you might bottom out from that. So it's tricky, Ty. I
It's
know. Yeah.
it's very tricky because you want to be compensated for the amount of time, effort, sweat, tears that you put into your business, your product, your service, and it's hard because people are so reluctant to buy something, and you have to be able to convey that value that you put in the work, the effort, the time, and I know you put your value in, but you also have to look through the lens of the customer because they have to see it's valuable. I could think, this book is worth a pot of gold, but if the entire world thinks it's just worth $5, you're not convincing anybody that is worth more than what they experienced, or so you have to be able to see from the lens of your customer and see what you can improve in value, and reflect that in your marketing and in your pricing. Yeah,
Sad, yeah. I will tell you, we are still having discussions on what
we
we
are.
think, our pricing should be. It is a big subject. There's so many factors to consider, way more than what we could even talk about within this, particular session. But um, it's something that you should always be talking about, though. It isn't just you said it and you're done. You should always be reevaluating your prices, because the market changes, your product changes, and from getting market data, you may find that, wow, this is really catching on, and I think we're leaving some money on the table with these lower prices. Maybe we should raise them. You
Yeah.
think about, I think the biggest thing is, for me, is Netflix. Oh man, I love Netflix, and I have been with Netflix for about a decade, and now they've started raising prices. And but honestly, for me, it's worth it, because I've had Netflix for so long, I can't, think about not having Netflix. So, once you've built that brand loyalty, don't be afraid to necessarily raise those prices, because, yeah, again, you may be leaving some money on the board that you don't necessarily have to.
Yeah. And so, like we talked about last week, last episode, beta testing. We did beta testing to figure out what was good about our product. And, we asked what did they perceive the price should be. And so some of them gave us a number that was lower than what we were charging. And we actually came around and and change those prices to what they had in the beta testing. And so, but that was a year ago, and we added new value and new features to our app. So it's like, okay, we went what the market said, but we added more value. So we're doing a new beta testing. We want to see what people think. And, we may even raise our prices again. So it's a constant ebb and flow of mission, value, and cost. And it's a journey, but you got to keep working at it and keep developing. So,
Oh yeah, it's all about finding the sweet spot.
oh yeah, the
Yep.
Goldilocks zone. Yeah,
That's a new one on me.
that's it. Find your Goldilocks zone with
The
prices
Goldilocks
because
zone.
once you do, you'll get the customers to be willing to give you the money that you have exchanged with value.
So
So,
don't go too low, don't go too high. It's just right, baby.
yeah. All right. Well, Carlin, got any last words for viewers?
Whew, man, yeah, I am super excited about this beta testing to see what our, people think our new value is. It's going to be a question that we ask, and so I'm really looking forward, and maybe we'll even give an update on what we've kind of decided on that route. But yeah, it's exciting. The pricing, it's a big topic, but it's also super exciting. I love talking about our pricing and what we think we can set it at. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't run from it. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. And remember, mission, value, and cost. Find your Goldilocks zone, and and that's how you formulate your pricing strategy. All right. Until next time, we'll see you later.
All right. Peace, y'all.